Thank you. All right. Welcome back, members of the jury. Everyone may be seated. All right. How was lunch today? Okay, good. All right. So we are ready to continue with the evidence. State of Florida, call your next witness.
Chris Johns.
Chris Johns. Good afternoon, Detective. All right. Will you please raise your right hand to be sworn in?
Detective, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. So, jury knows you. We don't have to go through any introductions. You've been brought back primarily to discuss the financial records that you obtained during the course of your investigation. But there was one thing we forgot to ask you, and that's State's Exhibit 199. Detective, have you had the occasion to go to the Potomac address, Mario Fernandez's former rental house, to see how it looks today?
Yes, I have.
I'm showing you it's been entered into evidence of State's Exhibit 199. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of how it looks today?
Yes, it is.
I think in the top left-hand corner of the picture, it says the Google Earth image is approximately March of 2025.
That's correct.
So State's Exhibit 199 would have been after Mr. Fernandez sold the home.
Yes.
So now we can go to some of the financial records you obtained. How do you as an investigator go about obtaining financial records?
Through a subpoena issued by the State Attorney's Office.
And when you receive those records, do you also receive an affidavit saying that these records are made in the normal course of business?
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, first of all, State's Exhibit 171. We'll give the jury an idea how these records are contained. I've opened up State's Exhibit 171, and it should be on everyone's screen now. I hit the right button, but I didn't. So when the jury looks at the Tenon financial records, we see two different folders come up. Can you explain that to the jury what those are?
One of them is a Credit One bank credit card, and it's just the credit card statements, and I think the application information. The other folder is his PNC Bank subpoena return, which is his bank account.
Okay, if we open up the Credit One, is this what you refer to as his credit card history?
Yes, sir.
I think it's all pretty self-explanatory, so we don't need to go through that. But let's look at the PNC bank records. We see two different folders when we click on those. Is there overlap contained in those records?
Yes, there is.
Why do we have overlap?
It was just the time period that was requested on the subpoena, and so it was the return of it.
So is there any reason for the jury to spend their time on the June 1st, 2022 to December 31st, 2022 files?
No, the first folder basically covers the time period that we reviewed and then up until the time that he was arrested.
So that would be the 1/1/2022 to August 18th, 2022.
That's correct.
Okay. First thing we're going to look at is that certification. Is that what you refer to as you received from the records custodian?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The jury can see that published. So now go to 1/1/2022 to 8/18/2022. Do we see some redactions in these?
Yes, sir.
Is that like for things like social security numbers?
That's correct.
Of course. There it is. Of course, this Adobe looks completely different from mine Adobe. There we go. So looking at page 22 of States 171, what is the jury looking at here?
This is a statement for his checking account at PNC Bank.
And if we scroll down on page 22, can you, for the record and for the jury, indicate what the beginning balance and ending balance was of Henry Tenon on his bank statement for the dates of 1/7/2022 to 2/4/2022?
I believe
Well, I guess let me show that for the jury. Is that 1/7/2022 to 2/4/2022 the period of the bank statement?
yes, sir.
All right, and then scrolling down to the balance summary.
The beginning balance is 52 cents, and the ending balance is negative $2.38.
And how many deposits and other additions were there in the bank account?
There was a total of $250 in deposits, and there were deductions in the amount of $252.90.
And we see an average monthly balance. Could you read that for the record?
The average monthly balance on the statement is negative $66.17.
And were there additional charges and fees, like overdraft fees, that were included?
$36 for the statement.
Do these statements also contain banking and debit card withdrawals and purchases?
Yes.
Let's go now to the period 2/5 to 3/4. And do we see that at the top of the statement on page 24?
Yes.
And then going to the balance summaries, can you again show the jury the ending balance, the deposits, and the ending balance?
The beginning balance was negative $2.38. There were $703.50 in deposits, $643.80 in deductions, giving an ending balance of $57.30.
Okay, we also see significant overdraft fees.
There were a total of $144 in overdraft fees.
And again, we see the debit card withdrawals and purchases.
Yes, sir.
So now going to 3/5 to 4/6 of 2022, beginning on page 26, what is the balance summaries?
The beginning balance was $57.30. The deposits were $11,518.95. Deductions were $4,601.79. Gave an ending balance of $6,974.46. Bring his average monthly balance to $941.36. And there were $180 in overdraft fees.
So going to the deposits and other additions on page 27, do we see 3 significant check deposits?
Yes.
And can you put the dates and the amounts?
On 3/28, he deposited a check for $2,000. On 3/29, he deposited an additional $3,000 check. And then on April 6th, he deposited a $5,000 check.
And do these checks end up matching the business check stubs that were found in Henry Tenon's truck?
Yes.
Do we also see cash deposits?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll get to those in a little bit. And again, we see banking card withdrawals and purchases.
That's correct.
Do we see work that corresponds to Henry Tenon's truck on 4/4 of 2022?
Yes, sir, we do.
Discount tire, as well as advance auto parts on 4-4. Do we see those?
Correct, yes.
So we're going to fast forward to page 39. That's not page 39. This is. Okay, we're looking at page, 38 going into page 39. Do we have the pay period several months later?
Yes, July 8th through August 4th.
And what are the balances?
The beginning balance is $204.63. There were $829.84 in deposits. There were $1,336.39 in deductions, with an ending balance of negative $301.92.
And this would have been the balance shortly before Mr. Tenon's arrest.
That's correct.
So now if we would go ahead and fast forward, do these records contain the check deposits and or the deposit slips of cash that Mr. Tenon did?
Yes.
So turning first to page 44, what are we looking at here?
That is a check, like an electronic check for a credit card payment.
Let's see here, make it look a little bit bigger.
I'm sorry, that's an Advance America payment.
I need to make it bigger. So this was paid to Advance America as from Henry Tenon. In other words, he owed them money for advances.
That's correct.
And that was the amount of $100 done on July 29th of 2022.
Correct.
And then we're going to go to page 50. It's smaller. What is the jury looking at on page 50?
This is a paycheck for Mr. Tenon from Moneson Pallets.
And can you state what the amount is?
$364.37.
In reviewing Mr. Tenon's bank records, were his payments from Moneson Pallets typically in this amount range?
Fairly consistent amount.
And did they also always include cents? In other words, they weren't flat numbers, like 100 or 200.
That's correct.
And will we see some of these deposits in his bank records?
Yes.
Did you give the date of January 28th of 2022?
No, it's dated January 28th, 2022.
That's okay. The jury can read that. And does it say in the memo what the pay period was?
Yes, the pay period is January 16th, 2022 to January 22nd, 2022.
So about $364.37 for a week's worth of work.
Yes, sir.
And do we see that corresponding deposit?
Yes, sir.
Okay, looking now at page 250, in reviewing these records, did you also notice that Mr. Tenon was making cash deposits?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea where that cash came from?
No, sir, I did not.
So looking at page 52, do you see a cash deposit February 11th of 2022 for $250?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And remind us about when the homicide was?
It was the 16th of February.
Do we see the corresponding deposit check?
Yes, sir.
On 2/18 of 2022, do we also see a cash deposit?
Yes, sir, we do for $340.
And do we see that corresponding deposit check
Yes, sir.
or slip? Looking now at page 56, what is the date and deposit here?
It is March 14th, 2022,
And for how much?
$520.
Okay. User error. All right, if we can go to page 56, what are we looking at here?
That's a deposit ticket for $520.
And then page 58.
It's another deposit ticket for $150 on March 18th.
Then on March 28th of 2022, is this the deposit slip for the $2,000 check?
Yes, sir, it is.
And on page 60, what is that?
That is a check written to Mr. Tenon for $2,000 from First Choice Home Rentals, LLC, on March 28th, 2022.
And for how much?
$2,000.
And for what?
According to the memo line, it's for landscaping and clearing.
The person that writes the check puts that information on.
Yes, sir.
In reviewing the records in this case, did you find any invoices from Henry Tenon charging for $2,000 worth of landscaping and clearing?
No, sir, I did not.
And who signed the check?
Mario Fernandez.
And then on the same day, there's another check on page 62. Please read it for the record.
Also from First Choice Home Rentals, LLC, to Mr. Tenon for $3,000. It says keeping up with the roof, also signed by Mario Fernandez.
Again, did you see any invoices corresponding to that?
No, sir.
And is that the deposit slip for the $3,000 on page 63?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Then the next check is 4/4 of 2022 on page 64. What are we looking at here?
Also, the third check written by First Choice Home Rentals, LLC, dated 4/4/2022, made out to Henry Tenon for $5,000. The memo line says Kickstarter, good luck, and it's signed by Mario Fernandez.
So for the period of time that you looked at Henry Tenon's bank records, were these payments different from the payments he received for his normal job at the pallet company?
Yes, sir.
Were they significantly more money?
Very much so.
And do we see the deposit on page 65?
Yes, sir.
And just to show the jury some of the deposits for his work at his pallet company, we're looking at page 66 as a deposit slip for 2 different checks.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And do we have pictures of those checks on page 67 and then 68?
Yes, sir.
First 67, again, this is from Monison Pallets, and we talked about that non-round figure of $367.
And 88 cents, yes.
8 cents. And again, do we have a pay period listed there?
April 10th, 2022 to April 16th, 2022.
And then again, on page 68, please put the amount, the date, and then the pay period.
The check's dated 4/15/2022. It's for $483.79. And the pay period is April 3rd, 2022 to April 9th, 2022.
And then we also see some cash deposits.
Yes, sir. A cash deposit for $700 on May 11th.
Again, you don't know where that cash came from.
No, sir.
More cash deposits. Let's go ahead and go to 75. So we see, we don't have to go through each cash deposit. The jury can find that there are several cash deposits.
Yes, sir.
And then go to some more of the checks. On page 77. And for the record, just put those items of information on the record.
It's a paycheck from June 10th, 2022 for $365.19. The pay period is May 29th, 2022 through June 4th, 2022.
And then page 80.
This paycheck is dated July 8th, 2022. It is for $324.93. And the pay period covered is June 26th, 2022 to July 2nd, 2022.
Now, Detective, could some of the cash deposits be situations where the legitimate work that Mr. Tenon did was deposited, then taken out, and then redeposited?
Yes, sir.
We just don't know where the cash came from.
That's correct.
Okay. We are now going to look at Mr. Fernandez and Ms. Gardner's financials. So when we open up their financials, do we look at 3 different folders?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Explain to the jury what the 3 folders are.
The Navy Federal return, which was, I would say, their primary banking institution. And then Mr. Fernandez had some accounts at USAA. And then there was also an account at ViStar, which I believe he might have been associated with, but I don't believe that to be his money. I believe it was his mother's.
And these 3 are going to be in States Exhibit 170. So let's look at the Navy Federal, since that's the primary one that we're going to be looking at. Do we see that certification in the first Adobe file?
Yes, sir.
And I'll start with, what is Navy Federal Beach Bake 904?
That is a small cookie business that they owned.
And then do we have a Fernandez checking and savings account in the third Adobe?
Yes, sir.
We also have a First Choice Home Rental in the fourth.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a Shanna Gardner checking and savings in the fifth?
That's correct.
And then the Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust in the sixth.
Yes, sir.
So we'll begin first by going through the First Choice Home Rental, because we have First Choice Home Rental checks that were deposited in Henry Tenon's account that we just saw.
That's correct.
So page 2, what are we looking at here?
This is the membership application for Navy Federal Credit Union for the First Choice banking relationship, and it lists the 2 owners of this LLC.
And who are the 2 owners?
Mario Fernandez and Shanna Gardner.
Is there a percentage of ownership listed?
According to this application, it shows that Mario Fernandez is 60% and Shanna Gardner is 40%.
Okay. So we are going to go, and certainly all of these are in the record, so I'm only skipping things for time's sake. Page 46, this is going to be for the time period of February 1st, 2022 to February 28th, 2022.
Yes, sir.
Explain to the jury what they're looking at in the business checking and the business savings account of this LLC.
This is a statement for the period that you stated, 2/1/2022 through 2/28/2022. Unlike a lot of banks, credit unions you have a main account number, and then you would have what they refer to as shares, which are just the sub-accounts of your main account. In this case, you're looking at one, which is the business checking account, and then the other, which is just the business savings account.
And the previous balances, and then show what's deposited.
The total previous balance was $4,206 for both accounts. The total deposits were $56,201.67. Withdrawals were $601.33, and then the ending total balance for both of those sub-accounts is $59,806.61.
And then we'll see on page 47, obviously there was a lot of money deposited. Does it say on 222 and 228 where those $5,000 and $50,000 deposits came from?
I know at least the $50,000 one came from Mr. Fernandez's account.
So from his account into the LLC.
That's correct.
So we see here a transfer from checking for Courtney Thomas. What is this?
That would be a rent payment, I believe.
And do we see that reoccurring on a monthly basis?
Yes.
And is that for the Sandalwood property as opposed to the Potomac property?
That's correct.
Do we have evidence in the Potomac property that rent was approximately $700?
I think it was 800, but I'm not sure.
780,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range. Okay. Do we see on page 50 that there were some legitimate payments made for the care of the Potomac home?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And please show that to the jury.
You need my, sure.
Should I stop? No, I was just wondering what's going on.
Okay. Mr. Mizrahi.
So we're looking at, get the thing back. We're looking at page 50. If you could show the jury show the payment to Bueller Air.
Yes, sir, right there on March 3rd, there's a $14,000 payment right there. And that was for Bueller Air Conditioning.
And do we also see payments for items from the Home Depot?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Do we also see that $2,000 and $3,000 checks that correspond to the checks written to Henry Tenon?
Yes, sir.
And your review of these records was the balance of over $55,000 unusual for this LLC?
Yes, sir.
And although unusual, there was a large expenditure to Bueller Air.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Was the amount that was deposited well in excess of the $14,000 to Bueller Air?
Yes, it was.
So we're fast forwarding to, well, too fast. Going back to page 53, which is on a separate statement, do we see that $5,000 check on 4/7 made to Henry Tenon?
Yes, sir.
Am I underlining it on check 29?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
We also see a check 30, it was $240.
Yes, sir.
Did Mr. Tenon also deposit cash amounts in $240 increments sometimes?
Yes.
And that $5,000 that we see on 4/7, what was the memo line of that $5,000?
I believe it said Kickstarter, good luck.
Okay, going now to page 59. Do we see transfers that reduce the balance in this account directly to Mario Fernandez?
Yes, sir.
And just, I guess, point the dates out and circle them for the jury.
Looks like June 16th, June 23rd for 5,000, and then an additional for 5,000. And then there's another one for 500 on the 24th.
I think the $500 was a reoccurring one as payment for like his doing this work.
Yes, sir.
And then going to page 72. What are we looking at on page 72, specifically the October 14th?
There was a cash withdrawal for $10,000.
And below that, do we see a transfer to from checking back into the account?
Yes, sir.
In reviewing all of these records, do there appear to be a lot of money moving around?
There was, yes, sir.
And in your training experience, could you figure out really a reason why all this money was moving around?
No, there was no what seemed legitimate reason for it.
Grounds.
Lack of foundation and speculation.
I'll sustain as a foundation.
Well, let me just ask the question because you kind of add it on sometimes. Did you see any reason why any of this should be happening?
I'm going to object to his opinion as to the reason.
Let me see it at sidebar. may proceed.
Thank you, Aaron. So we left off on page 72. Do we see a cash withdrawal for $10,000 and then a transfer of $5,000?
Yes, sir.
We're going to now, do these records also contain the checks?
Yes, sir, they do.
And we're going to start those on page 117. So explain to the jury what they're looking at on 117.
This is a check written to Tri-H Construction for $2,000.
And is there in the memo line or 4-line information?
Yes, it lists the White Horse property address, and I can't read the rest of the memo line there.
It may say
Agreement draw, I think.
I'm not really sure.
Agreement drawn or agreement draw, something like that.
And the White Horse is the Sandalwood address?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And then on page 118, what are we looking at here?
Also a check to Tri-H Construction for $16,300. And it says siding repairs, and it also gives the White Horse Road address.
And both of these checks are back in one of them doesn't have a date on it. Maybe on the other part of the check it does. Yeah, they're both in 2021. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
And then on page 119,
Another check to Tri-H Construction for $2,573.99. And it says for siding and electrical.
page 120,
This check is dated October 14th, 21 to Current Electrical Contractors Incorporated. It's for $317 and is also for the White Horse property. It has an invoice number there.
it has an invoice number. Okay. Okay, and then on page 121.
This is the $2,000 check that we saw with Mr. Tenon's records. It says for landscaping and clearing.
Page 122.
Another check written to Mr. Tenon for $3,000, and it says keeping up with the roof.
And 123.
A check dated 4/4/2022 for $5,000, and it says written to Mr. Tenon, and it says Kickstarter, good luck.
And do we see a check on page 124?
Yes, sir. This one was written April 5th, 2022 to J.B. Cornwell, I believe. $240. Dirt AS, I'm not sure.
And then on page 125.
Check written on 4/22/2022 for $7,494. Written to Current Electrical Contractors Incorporated, and it lists the Potomac address.
Page 126.
Check written on June 30th of 2022 to J.B. Corwell for $425. I believe it says Store 57.
I think, Detective, if you look at for deposit only, it may be J.B. Coxwell.
Oh, sorry. Yes, J.B. Coxwell.
They're a contractor with an operating account.
Yes.
Page 127.
June 30th, also to J.B. Coxwell for $200. It says for fill dirt for the White Horse Road address.
128.
Current Electrical Contractors Incorporated for $158. And it says invoice 2864-A.
So let's look at the third one, which is Mario Enrique Fernandez's accounts. And do we see his information as well as a family member, which is his brother?
Yes, sir.
I'm fast forwarding now to page 59. What are we looking at for the statement period 4/8 of 22 to 5/27 of 22?
Yes, sir.
Is there an interesting deposit?
There is a transfer of $45,000.
So what was the beginning balance and what was the ending balance?
The previous balance, or the starting balance, had been $49,804.69. And the ending balance was $2,000, 15.43 cents.
We're into page 151. 4/28/22 to 5/27/22. If we fast forward in those accounts, on page 151, turning your attention to 813, what do we see in 813?
There was a cash withdrawal of $2,250.
Turning now to the next page. This is going to be page 152. And again, we're looking at a statement period now because we're jumping between different checking accounts in July of 2021. What is this?
It's a bank wire that was received for $382,894.34.
And did your investigation lead to where that came from?
That was the sale of the house that Miss Gardner owned prior to marrying Mr. Fernandez.
And we can see that that money remained in the account for some period of time.
Yes, sir.
And then turning to the next statement period, going from August to September of 21, we still have a large portion of that money remaining in that account.
Yes, sir.
Do we have large withdrawals?
Yes, sir.
And showing you page 156, do we see one of those large withdrawals on 9/13?
Yes, sir, for $150,000.
Now, during the course of your investigation, were you able to determine what Mr. Fernandez's employment was during the period of time that was relevant to your investigation?
I believe during the time that we were looking at these bank statements, he received money from the VA.
In addition to any monies he was receiving from the VA, did he have some rental properties?
Yes, sir, he did.
Which I think you said totaled about less than $2,000?
I believe during the period we looked at, there was a total of $31,500 in rental payments.
Did your investigation lead to where this money is all coming from?
Most of the money that was transferred into this account would have derived from the trust.
And whose trust is that?
Ms. Gardner's.
In your investigation, I think the jury's already heard that her parents were very wealthy.
Yes, sir.
Just look at a couple more of these. 176. Do we see a large withdrawal during the period of time of 1/28/22 to 2/27/22?
Yes, sir. There was a large withdrawal of $36,500.
And then page 180, which is the same period of time, 2/28/22 to 3/27/22. Do we have a large transfer to checking?
Yes, the $50,000 transfer.
Fast forwarding to page 265, I know the jury has already seen the fact that these accounts contain checks. What are we looking at on page 265?
That is a check that was written to Mr. Fernandez from Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville for $35,000.
And did your investigation lead to what that was for?
I believe that's for the sale of the Tesla.
And finally, on page 277, where were we looking at there?
That is a check to Mario Fernandez from Shelley and Sterling Gardner for $75,000.
What was the date of that?
I believe it was 12/21.
I'll go back to it. Just for the record.
December 21st, 2021.
And is there anything on the memo line?
No, sir.
So I want to spend just a minute on the beach baked. Is Mr. Fernandez also listed as the named person on that account?
Yes, sir, he is.
And does it list the 1511 Marsh Inlet Court address?
Yes, sir.
And does it also list Ms. Gardner as well?
Yes, it does.
So just to show the jury, are there any large amounts that are either deposited or written checks on this account?
No, they're usually fairly small amounts, less than
Exactly.
$1,000.
Is that consistent with what you learned about the home baked goods account business that Ms. Gardner ran?
Yes, sir.
So just for example, on page 8, we're talking about balances that range between $500 and $1,700.
Yes, sir.
And then on page 10, $500 to $1,100.
That's correct.
All right. Now, we're going to look at the irrevocable trust. Before we go into what's contained in the bank records, did you also review the trust documents in this case?
Yes, sir, we did.
And what do the trust documents say about Jared Bridegan?
That Miss Gardner could resume being in charge of her trust once she had no further legal entanglements with Mr. Bridegan.
We'll look at that in a minute. This is Bridegan. It's definitely here. I just forgot to read the page now. All right. Let's look at who was the trustee of the irrevocable, Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust.
Mr. Fernandez.
And do we see that here contained on page 1?
Yes.
Skip to page 25. Can you explain to the jury the statement period 7/18/21 to 8/27/21, what they're looking at?
Yes, it looks like there was one sub-checking account and then 3 sub-savings accounts. And the total balance, or the beginning balance for the statement period would have been $181,195.93. Ending balance for the entire of the sub-accounts was $179,713.46.
And the identical balances in the two savings accounts, would that correspond to the accounts that were designated for AB and LB?
Yes.
Guess we need to go to the beginning of the trust. Do we have an ending balance of 12/28/20 to 1/27 of 21?
The ending balance was $218,655.88.
Looked at page 52. What are we looking at here? First of all, let me put the dates. 4/8/28 of 2022 to 5/27 of 2022.
Yes, sir.
What are we looking at here?
The beginning balance was $251,026.15. And then the ending balance was $12,202.61.
And what happened from the 2021, early 2022 statements until April and May of 22? What had changed?
Ms. Gardner had opened up another account, and I believe they were separating, so they were transferring out all the remaining assets.
Was there a need for an irrevocable trust anymore?
No.
And we see on that 5/2 transfer of $120,000.
Yes, sir.
Page 68, which is going to be September of 2022, what are we looking at?
This is the Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust Statement, and it is $0.
I'm showing you what has been entered into evidence as defense exhibit number 3, subsection C, page 25. Can you read that into the record?
Furthermore, and notwithstanding the foregoing, when our daughter Shanna shall have no further legal entanglements with her ex-husband, Jared G. Bridegan, she may elect to serve as the trustee by delivering a signed and notarized document to the trustee then in office.
So we look at page 72. Do we also see a corresponding check to Shanna Gardner in the amount of $75,000 that corresponds to the date and time that Mario Fernandez received that $75,000 check?
Yes, sir.
So now I want to look at Ms. Gardner's checking and savings account. And we're going to go first, page 38. If you could just explain to the jury what they're looking at for the statement period 12/20/21 to 1/19 of 2022.
She has two sub-accounts, a checking and a savings, with a total previous balance of $1,245 and an ending balance of $1,120.63.
And do we see those everyday checking things that she's paying for and things like that?
Yes, sir.
And then from 1/20/22 to 2/19 of 2022, similar type balances?
Yes, sir.
And then 2/20 to 3/19, do we have similar type balances?
Yes, sir.
And then 3/20 to 4/19, similar balances?
Yes, sir.
Then 4/20 to 5/19 of 2022, What's changed?
There was a significant increase in the balances.
Can you show the deposits for the jury and say what they are?
So the previous starting balance was $3,246. And then there was a total deposit in the amount of $233,419.09. And then withdrawals of $15,511.80, giving her an ending balance of $221,147.01.
And do we see those 50, 45, and 120,000 figures in different parts of the other accounts?
Yes, sir.
Are you familiar with the $10,000 threshold?
Yes, I am.
Explain that to the jury.
If you take a cash withdrawal or do a wire in the amount of in $10,000 or more, they're required to do a currency transaction report, which basically reports to FinCEN or the Treasury Department any large movement of money.
That's all the questions. Joe.
Thank you. Cross-examination?
Yes, ma'am.
You need a moment, Mr. Mizrahi.
Other than dropping my pen, no. Don't.
You can take a few trips.
It's evidence. You need this?
No.
This is your notebook.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good to see you again. Let's talk about a few things first, globally. Shanna Gardner's family is extremely wealthy, correct?
Yes, sir.
Hundreds of millions of dollars in yearly revenue, correct?
That's what's been reported.
You have no reason to believe that's not true, right?
No, sir.
And Shanna Gardner's parents gave Miss Gardner and Mr. Fernandez money, correct?
Yes, sir.
And through your investigation, you were able to learn that it wasn't just those two $75,000 checks. They got regular and reoccurring money from the Gardner family, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So although you just talked about two checks, since the moment Mr. Fernandez married into that family, he started getting money, correct?
I can only go and report what is the time period that was reviewed, which those are the only checks that were received, but I have no reason to believe that they did not receive other funds.
They got money wired to them, correct?
Well, the wire that I saw was from the sale of the house.
No, but there was in all of the records you reviewed, they got money wired from the Gardners to themselves, not just checks, correct?
I actually don't recall seeing a wire from them.
You're not suggesting to this jury that they got two checks for $75,000.
No, their lifestyle was funded by the Gardners.
And let's back up a little bit. Let's back up. Jared Bridegan was married to Shanna Gardner, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he didn't work when he was married to Shanna Gardner, did he?
As it was reported, that's correct.
He lived off of the Shanna Gardner trust money, correct?
Yes.
Because you know through your investigation that the Shanna Gardner family paid their children for all sorts of reasons, educational reasons, and as part of their trust fund money, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you pointed out a big transfer from the sale of the home of $382,000. Do you recall when I asked you on direct examination how much Mr. Bridegan got when Miss Gardner sold the home?
I don't recall the figure, but there was an amount he received.
About $390,000 that Mr. Jared Bridegan received, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So no different that Mr. Bridegan received hundreds of thousands of dollars via the Gardner family, right?
Correct.
Okay. So in this trust, you were able to learn that not only did Shanna Gardner get money, the Gardners also gave their other children money, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there's no disagreement that the extremely wealthy Gardner family gave their children money, right?
No.
And did you make sure that it was clear, and I will if you didn't, the $75,000 checks dated 12/21, Shanna Gardner got $75,000, right?
75,000 went into the trust and 75,000 went into Mr. Fernandez's account.
Right, from the Gardner money.
Yes.
And the purpose of the trust was so that her money was protected, right?
Yes.
And you said that you were a financial planner here in town. You have your own business, right?
Yes.
So you certainly are aware that wealthy people give their children money, right?
Yes.
For tax reasons, right?
Various reasons.
To lower their inheritance tax, right?
There's several reasons, yes.
Dozens of reasons why really wealthy people start trusts for their children, right?
Yes.
So let's just globally talk about a few more things. That trust document that says that Shanna Gardner can be the trustee of her own trust if she so elects, if she doesn't have any entanglements with Jared Bridegan, does it say anything about Mario Fernandez?
No, it does not.
So in fact, if she has no entanglements with Jared Bridegan, she gets to control the trust, right?
That's correct?
Mr. Fernandez is already in control of the trust, right?
Yes.
He is the trustee, okay? Right?
Yes.
Okay. So let's now talk about what Mr. Fernandez had prior to the homicide. I'll stand here. Can you publish this? Can you zoom out? Can you see this, Detective?
Yes, sir.
This would be from the same records that you were talking about from states 170, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a Navy Federal account, right?
That's correct?
This is Mr. Fernandez's personal checking accounts, right?
I can't see the titling, but at the top.
Okay, sorry. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Gardner's not on this account, correct?
That's correct?
This is just his money. He can do whatever he wants with it, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is the month,
I believe it's on December 20th at the top. But
December 28th to January 27th. This is before the homicide, right?
yes, sir.
Mr. Fernandez had access to $212,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
If he wanted to do anything he wanted with that money, there's no trust that dictates what he could do. That is his money, right?
I mean, I don't know what a divorce attorney would say about that, but otherwise, yes.
They weren't getting divorced, right? So you're married, happily married people. You can just go and take whatever money you want out of your account, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to call a divorce attorney to do that. That's your right to do whatever you so choose with the money in your account, right?
That's correct.
You may come home and your partner may be a little upset with you, but certainly there's no law that he couldn't have done whatever he wanted with that money, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the next month. This is Mr. Fernandez's checking account, correct?
Yes, sir.
Same statement I showed you before, except for this is the next month, 128 to 227, correct?
That's correct.
Still has $158,000 available to him, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is the following month, right? Same accounts.
That's correct.
This is after the homicide, 228 to 327, and he had 158,000. The ending balance was 96,000, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that was his own personal checking account.
That's correct.
Now, you suggested to the jury that he transferred $50,000. You recall that?
Yes, sir.
He transferred it to himself, correct?
He transferred it to the LLC.
First Choice Home Rentals.
Yes.
So it didn't come from the Gardner Trust, right? So if it was ever suggested to this jury that Mr. Fernandez transferred $50,000 a week after the homicide from the Gardner Trust to himself, that would not be true, would it?
I think it's a mischaracterization in the way you're stating it.
I want to make sure it's crystal clear. If it was ever represented to this jury that Mr. Fernandez transferred $50,000 from the Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust 1 week after the homicide to himself, that would not be true, would it?
At least part of those assets would have come from the trust, yes.
What assets came from the trust, Detective? I just showed you that Mr. Fernandez had $212,000. Then the next month he had $196,000. He had plenty of money in his own personal checking account, right?
Yes, that would have come from the trust.
We just talked about that on 12/28 he deposited $75,000 from the Gardners, right?
Yes.
It didn't come from the trust, did it?
Overall, I'm saying the amount of money that he was only making $37,000 a year.
Detective, we have to be really careful with our words.
I agree.
Money goes from the trust account to, and I'm going to walk you through it. We're not going to guess, trust me. We're going to go through every single trust account record to see where that money went. But I'm asking you a very basic financial question. You can transfer money from the Shanna Gardner Trust to Mr. Fernandez. He could do that if he wanted to, correct?
Yes, he was the trustee.
That did not happen. That $50,000 did not come from the trust account, did it?
No, that specific transaction came from his account.
Right. And let's say on December 28th, Mr. Fernandez got $75,000. That could have come from the irrevocable trust, hypothetically, right?
Yes.
But it didn't. And this is why I want to make sure that words matter. Shanna Gardner's parents, Shelley and Sterling Gardner, wrote him a check for $75,000 at the end of the year, right?
Yes.
That's where that money came from.
The assets are commingled.
They're not.
They wrote him a $75,000 check, and he did transfer $50,000 from his account.
Okay. We're really going to figure this out together. The Gardners live in Utah, right?
Yes.
And they're private wealth clients of Chase Bank, correct?
Yes.
Because you know that because it says it right on the check. $75,000. This is an example of the two checks that the Gardners gave them, right?
Yes, sir.
You're saying it was commingled, it all came from the same place. This came from a checkbook as a Chase private client from Shelley and Sterling Gardner, right?
Yes, sir.
From their bank account, right?
Yes, sir.
That did not come from the irrevocable trust, correct?
No, that check was, the check that you just showed me was deposited into the trust.
Right. And the identical check, with the exception of it saying Shanna Gardner, it said Mario Fernandez, right?
Yes.
And that came from the Chase private wealth management banking account of Sterling and Shelley Gardner, right?
Yes, sir.
So that didn't come from the irrevocable trust, right?
That specific $75,000, no, it did not.
Okay. And in addition to all the other money that Mr. Fernandez had, you're saying, well, it's all commingled. It came from the irrevocable trust. Isn't that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Well, $35,000 of it came from Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville when he sold his Tesla, right?
Yes.
That didn't come from the Shanna Gardner irrevocable trust, did it?
I mean, you'd have to go back and look and see. You'd have to have a much larger picture of knowing where the Tesla was purchased from.
The check came from Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, right?
For an asset that was sold to them, but we don't know how that was purchased.
You don't know. So you can't say it came from the Gardner irrevocable trust, can you?
You're correct, I can't.
Right. Because you know for sure it came from Mercedes-Benz of Jacksonville, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about two things that we know for sure. $75,000 came from the Gardners personally, not the trust account, right?
That's correct.
And $35,000 came from Mercedes-Benz, right?
Yes.
So that's $110,000 right there that we know for a fact did not come from the Gardner Trust, right?
It would depend on how the Tesla was purchased. There's no way to know that with the records that we currently have.
You're saying that whenever he bought the Tesla, when did he buy the Tesla?
I don't remember exactly when it was purchased.
So you don't even know if he was married when he bought the Tesla, do you?
Off the top of my head, no.
So you're trying to insinuate that possibly it could have come, this asset could have come from money that was given to him through the trust account for an asset that you don't even know when it was purchased, right?
I'm just saying that that is a possibility versus just saying that the Tesla was his outright, and so the money that he got from Mercedes-Benz was his and did not originate from the trust or the Gardners.
Well, let's circle back.
Okay?
Let's go to the trust. No. Let's go to the trust account.
Mr. Dreiser, could we take a break?
Sure.
Would that be too disruptive to you?
No, it's fine.
Members of the jury will take 15 minutes, okay?
I don't.
All right, please let the record reflect that the jury's left the courtroom. Everyone may be seated. The court will be in recess for 15 minutes, so we'll come back at 3 o'clock. All right, welcome back, members of the jury. Everyone may be seated. Mr. Dreiser, you can continue.
What's the number? Question. Okay. We're working through some bank records trying to figure out money, correct?
Okay?
You've reviewed lots of stuff in order to make findings as to where you think money came from, right?
I don't understand the question.
You had access to review lots of documents so you could try to get a better understanding of how the Fernandez family, the Gardner family, and the Gardner wealthy family out in Utah, how they move money. That was part of the job of you trying to figure that out, right?
Not necessarily, no.
What have you been testifying to for the last hour and a half?
I received bank statements for a specific period of time that show a picture of a certain thing, but what you're describing is much larger than what was actually done.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been labeled and admitted in evidence as Defense 2. This will help us figure out where the money came from. Do you you know that Mr. and Mrs. Fernandez had a prenuptial agreement?
No, I've actually not seen this.
No one showed you their prenuptial agreement?
No.
So you're seeing it for the first time?
Yes.
Okay, and one of the disputes that we were just trying to reconcile is whether the Mercedes-Benz money from the Tesla, you were saying, well, it could have circulated back through money that came from the trust. And I was saying, well, you don't know that. And then you answered how you answered. Do you remember that exchange?
Yes.
Okay. In a premarital agreement, you've seen those through your work, right?
Yes.
In premarital agreements, people put some of their assets that they owned before the marriage.
That's correct.
You're not unfamiliar with that policy, right? Hold on. with me? I'm still reading from the prenuptial agreement, right?
Yes, sir.
And then this is where Schedule 1, Mario's separate property is. You see that?
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yes.
It says Mario's motor vehicles, correct?
Yes, it does.
And what does it say that Mr. Fernandez owned before he even got into the marriage?
A Toyota Tacoma valued at $32,000 and a Tesla Model S valued at $47,000.
Okay. And the $35,000 that came from Mercedes-Benz was because he sold that Tesla S, correct?
Yes.
So now we know that that did not come from the Shanna Gardner Trust or anything to do with the Gardners, because we know it was a premarital asset before he even met Ms. Gardner, correct?
Yes.
I just need a moment in between. I want to keep these papers organized, Judge.
No problem.
All right. So you testified that Mr. Fernandez, in the month of April, moved, he had about $4,000 or $5,000 in first choice home rentals in the month of March, right?
Okay.
You said that.
Can I see the statement you're referring to?
Sure. It's the month before the $50,000 gets moved. It had a balance of 4, 5, 6, 7,000, right?
Somewhere around there, yes.
Okay. And then Mr. Fernandez transferred $50,000 from his own personal account into first choice home rentals, right?
Yes.
A $15,000 AC unit for the Potomac address from Bueller Air Conditioning, correct?
Yes.
So he had to transfer money into first choice home rentals or the check would have bounced, correct?
Yes.
And you don't know if Mr. Fernandez knew exactly how much that AC was going to be, right?
I would imagine that there was some type of talk about price prior to, but
Maybe an estimate, right?
yes.
Okay. And you don't want to bounce a check ever, right?
No.
Especially if you have plenty of money in one account, there's no reason not to move over to another account to make sure you cover your costs for that month. That's just good financial planning, isn't it?
Yes.
And he also wrote Mr. Tenon $10,000 worth of checks the next month, correct?
Yes.
So besides the $15,000 approximate payment to Bueller and the $10,000 that he paid to Mr. Tenon, that's $25,000 right there, right?
Yes.
And then you said later he moved another 2 payments of $5,000 back to the original personal banking account, correct?
They were transferred back, yes.
Right. So when you said, I don't know, I can't think of a reason why he would do that, he overpaid himself from one account to another account to cover monthly expenses. He excess paid what the monthly expenses were, right?
I wouldn't characterize that, no.
How could you characterize it any different? He put $50,000 into an account and he didn't spend $50,000 that month, did he?
No, we did not.
So he overextended additional funds that weren't needed. You agree with that?
Typically, when you deposit funds from a personal account into a business account, you're making a contribution to your company, and you would receive, we're getting into taxes here, but basically the basis of your company would increase, so you would keep that money the way it is.
Or you could move it back.
Or you could move it back.
And then you just adjust your bookkeeping for the month. That's all that is required there, right?
Yes.
You don't pay taxes monthly. So if he overpaid the account to cover expenses and then he moved the money back, he just moved it right back from where it came from, correct?
It would be unusual to do that, but yes, that's correct.
Unusual to you?
To most people who have a business and conduct different books for their business, yes.
And you know that from your training and experience as a police officer or from your financial planning?
From my financial planning and the tax firm that I own as well.
Okay. And with that information, you think that because he moved excess funds and then moved them right back to the very account, there's something suspicious about that?
I didn't say it was suspicious.
Oh, it's just unusual.
Unusual.
Not suspicious.
Your words.
Not suspicious.
It is an unusual transaction.
That you characterize as not suspicious.
It's unusual.
nonetheless, when you do all of the things that we're just talking about, there's a complete bank record of it, right?
Yes, there is.
Nothing is hidden because all you have to do is subpoena the bank and it showed every single one of these transactions, unusual or not, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So, around the same time period, there is the Shanna Gardner irrevocable trust, right?
Yes, sir.
This is the trust account, also from States 170.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Top left corner, the Shanna Gardner Irrevocable Trust.
Yes, sir.
This is prior to the homicide, 11/28 to 2/27.
Yes.
This has an ending balance of $178,000.
Yes, sir.
Identify for me anywhere in this statement. Would you like me to bring it to you?
No, that's all right. I can see there.
Identify for me anywhere in this statement where Mr. Fernandez transferred one single penny to himself.
Well, that's just the balances there.
That's why I asked you. Want to see the whole statement?
Sure. There are two transfers of one for 1,800, one for 1,500 that are transferred to a checking account. Unfortunately, the way that these statements are drafted, it doesn't say which account that it went into.
Okay. Except you've already told this jury that those two accounts were designated for AB and LB, the ones that you just read that from, correct? You asked, Mr. Mizrahi asked you, and you said the two sub-accounts were designated for AB and LB, correct?
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying the statement does not show which account the money was transferred into. It just shows that there was a transfer of $1,800 and one of $1,500.
Detective, do you still stand by that the accounts that you're referring to are for LB and AB?
You're asking two different questions. Your initial question was, do I see any transfers on the statement?
No. I asked you see any transfers, one single penny to Mr. Fernandez was my question.
And as I'm saying here, and I'll gladly show you, there are two transfers, one of 12/1 and 12/15, to a checking account. It does not state which checking account they were transferred to.
You're talking about the highlighted,
Yes.
the one, so you're acknowledging to me that you should show me, I highlighted them and sent them to you, correct?
Yes, you did.
Fair enough that I probably know that they're on there.
Yeah.
Can I see it? So let's show the jury so they can see. Back to the same statement, the highlighted portions that I sent over to you. In that particular month, there are two transfers, $1,800 and $1,500, and you're saying that you don't know that those are for the benefit of LB and AB?
According to the document that you're showing me, it does not state the account that they were transferred into.
Any reason to believe they went to Mr. Fernandez?
I don't know where they went based upon the document you're showing me.
Okay, so as you sit here today as the lead detective in this case, you don't have any evidence that one single penny went to Mario Fernandez?
No, sir, that is not at all what I said.
Okay, tell the jury, what evidence do you have that one single penny went to Mario Fernandez?
Are you talking about the totality of
No.
are you talking about the statement? What are you referring to?
This $1,800 and this $1,500. If it went to Mr. Fernandez, you have all of Mr. Fernandez's accounts, detective. You would know exactly if it went into Mr. Fernandez's accounts, wouldn't you?
By looking at other statements, yes.
Do you have any reason to believe that that went into Mr. Fernandez's accounts?
I don't know.
Okay, so the answer is you don't know if any money went to Mr. Fernandez, but can we at least agree if it did, it would be less than $4,000?
Based upon the one statement you're showing me, yes.
I'm talking about, yeah, one statement, just this month, right?
Yes.
Okay. This is the next month, correct?
Yes, sir.
Irrevocable trust, 1228, 127, right?
Correct.
This is the month that the balance goes up, right?
Yes, sir.
It doesn't go down, it goes up, meaning there was more deposits than withdrawals, right?
That's correct.
This is the next page. We don't have to guess why it went up. This was the month that the checking account recognized the $75,000 check that Ms. Gardner got from her parents, right?
That's correct.
Okay. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may throughout.
Can you show me on this statement, the following month, where one single penny went from this account to Mr. Fernandez?
There is not one.
Would you agree with me? This is the next month. Shanna Gardner, irrevocable trust. Can you see that?
Would you mind pulling it down just here for me? Yep, thank you. Yes.
128 to 227.
Yes, sir.
I haven't skipped any months, have I?
Nope.
You see the balance?
Yes, sir.
253,000.
Yes.
Bless you.
Can you tell the jury there's any evidence that Mr. Fernandez got one single penny from the irrevocable trust?
Well, there are no withdrawals. You can tell that right here.
There are no withdrawals, so you know that Mr. Fernandez did not get one single penny.
There were no withdrawals, correct.
Right. So the answer is he got zero pennies.
On that statement, that's correct.
Okay. I've shown you three statements so far. One statement, there was a $1,500 and an $1,800 withdrawal, and you don't even know where that went. That's where we're at, right?
Based upon the statement you showed me, that's correct.
Do you think that there's a part of the statement I didn't show you?
The statement does not state where the transaction went to.
Right. So you don't know. I didn't mischaracterize that, right? Right? You don't know where that $1,500 and $1,800 went, right?
Based on the statement, no. I answered the question at least 3 times.
That's when I said you don't know. I thought you would just agree with me. So now you're at the next monthly statement, Detective. Shanna Gardner, irrevocable trust,
Yes.
228 to 327. I think that's the one we just looked at. Must be a duplicate. Nope. I'm sorry, this is right. This is the month of the homicide, correct?
Pull down the statement for me a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is post the homicide. The last statement was during the homicide, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're on track. I haven't skipped anything. Shanna Gardner's irrevocable trust, 228 to 327. You see it?
Yes, sir.
Show the jury, please, if Mr. Fernandez got one single penny from the irrevocable trust.
There is a $1,500 transfer. There again, the statement does not indicate what checking account it was transferred into.
Okay. So if he did get a penny, it's $1,500, and you agree as you sit here, you have no idea whether he got it or anybody else in the world got it.
The statement doesn't state what checking account it was transferred into.
Okay. But you have all of Mr. Fernandez's checking accounts for that exact same time period, right?
Yes, I do.
So you would be able to find out in 2 seconds if that went to Mr. Fernandez, couldn't you?
Yes.
the next month. Shanna Gardner, irrevocable trust, 328 to 427. You agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Didn't skip a month?
No?
Can you please tell the jury if there's evidence that Mr. Fernandez, the month after the homicide, received one single penny from the irrevocable trust?
There was a $1,000 transfer into a checking account.
You don't know who got it, right?
Not without looking at the corresponding statements.
Even if Mr. Fernandez got every single checking transfer that you've identified, we're not even close to $50,000, are we?
No, sir.
We haven't even breached 10,000, have we?
No.
And this is the irrevocable trust, irrevocable trust dated 4/28 to 5/27, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you told the jury that Mr. Fernandez and Ms. Gardner had separated at this point?
I believe so, yes.
And where did all the money go?
The money that is in the $257,000 accounts went to new accounts for the kids, just under Miss Gardner's name. And I know there's a distribution of the rest of the assets, but I couldn't tell you exactly where from the statement.
Any reason to believe that Mr. Fernandez got any of it?
I don't recall exactly how much he got.
The vast majority, like hundreds of thousands of dollars, all went to Ms. Gardner, correct?
Yes, sir.
Any evidence that Mr. Fernandez ever got $50,000 from the irrevocable trust
Directly?
this time period?
No.
Certainly not a week after the homicide. We've gone through all those statements, right?
Yes.
You haven't been able to identify that Mr. Fernandez moved $50,000 from the irrevocable trust to himself 1 week after the homicide. That's for sure. You have not been able to do that as you sit here this afternoon, correct?
Not based upon those statements, no.
Are there any other statements that I'm not showing you of the irrevocable trust, detective?
No.
And again, this is the following month of the irrevocable trust, 5/28 to 6/27. And now it's down to about $10,204.
Yes. Sorry.
And that's consistent with all of the money being transferred to Ms. Gardner, correct?
Yes.
It never goes back into the irrevocable trust account at Navy Federal. The money never gets back in there, correct?
No.
And it never goes to Mr. Fernandez, correct?
The statement you showed, no.
There are no statements that show the money ever going to Mr. Fernandez, correct?
No.
And you know that because you showed the jury that Miss Gardner would regularly have like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in her account when she was in the marriage to Mr. Fernandez, right?
Yes, that's correct. It was a small amount.
And then after Mr. Bridegan died, now we're talking big money, right? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars got transferred from the account that Mr. Fernandez controlled to Ms. Gardner herself, right?
Yes.
And you have no evidence that Mr. Fernandez was ever on any of the accounts that Ms. Gardner set up when she moved, right?
That's correct.
And you also know that when Mr. Fernandez got arrested, okay, Ms. Gardner had about $500,000 in her bank account, correct?
Something about that, yes. So she had access, not necessarily in her account specifically, but yes, she had access to a significant amount of money.
Way more than she had when she was married to Mr. Fernandez, right?
Yes.
And Mr. Fernandez, in all of his accounts added up when he got arrested, he had about $70,000, correct?
I thought it was closer to 80, but about there.
I'll give it to you, $80,000. Significantly less money that he had during the course of the marriage, correct?
That he had access to.
That he had access to, right?
Yes.
So Mr. Fernandez didn't get richer, he got poorer, right?
Yes.
Because he's divorcing and separating from the Gardner family. He's no longer getting annual gifts, right?
I would not have a way of knowing that.
You do have a way of knowing it because you reviewed their bank records. He no longer got any annual gifts from the Gardners, Detective, correct?
I don't know what he does and doesn't get anymore.
Okay. But you do know what went into his bank account, and you know he had substantially less money at the time he got arrested, correct?
Yes.
And he was living with his brother in Orlando, nowhere near Mrs. Gardner, correct?
Yes.
So now let's talk about the checks that Mr. Tenon received, right?
Okay.
There were 3 of them. You agree with that?
Yes, sir.
And they were checks that were at the end of March, and one was in early April, right?
The checks were all given to him at the same time.
Well, they weren't cashed at the same time,
That's correct.
right? So you weren't there when the checks were exchanged, correct?
I wasn't, no.
Okay. And just because the check stubs were in his truck, you don't know that they were given to him at the same day. You're just making that assumption, correct?
It would be highly unusual that the 3 check stub would still be intact and the checks were not given to him all at the same time.
Unless, as you know, owning your own business, managing other people's businesses, that you can rip one check out, then a second check, and then when the third check comes, you just tear all 3 out and hand it to him. You know that's exactly what can happen, right, Detective?
I have never seen that happen before.
Of course you haven't. But in this case, you weren't there when Mr. Fernandez ripped the checks out?
No, it was not.
And although they're on different dates, not one single one of them was cashed the same day, correct?
I think 2 were cash, excuse me, I apologize. 2 of them were deposited the same day. I think one of them went on hold, and then the other one was deposited later.
Okay. So at that time, let's just get some perspective here. The homicide was February 16th, 2022, right?
Yes, sir.
This is a murder for hire, a solicitation. That's what the jury is trying to figure out here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What evidence of checks or payments do you have that Mr. Fernandez paid Mr. Tenon in November of 2021?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question?
What evidence of payments do you have that Mr. Fernandez paid Mr. Tenon any money in November of 2021?
There were statements made that indicated that one of them was a payment.
You have 3 payments in March, 2 payments in March and 1 in April. I'm asking you of November of 2021.
There was no payments made that I'm aware of.
No payments from Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon in November of 2021. Will you agree with me?
Yes.
There are no payments that you have any evidence of between Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon in December of 2021, correct?
Unless there was some cash exchange, there's no evidence of that.
You don't have evidence that the cash was exchanged, do you?
No.
What evidence, and you have no evidence, that any financial transactions occurred between Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Tenon in January of 2022, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So that's the 3 months preceding the homicide, right?
Yes.
And then there's 16 days in the month of February. You have no evidence that Mr. Fernandez paid Mr. Tenon one single nickel in the 16 days preceding the homicide, do you?
Correct.
Okay. So far, you've agreed with me that Mr. Fernandez hasn't paid Mr. Tenon one single penny prior to the homicide, correct?
Unless it was a cash payment. That's correct.
You have no evidence of, right?
Correct.
So now there's the second half of February, and you have no evidence of any payments that Mr. Fernandez gave Mr. Tenon post the homicide that month, correct?
That's correct.
Then the next month is March. In the month of March, that's when there's all sorts of media articles about this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
The blue truck is released to the media. I think you told this jury March 9th, correct?
That was a little later in March, but it was in March.
Sometime in mid-March, right?
Yes.
That's when, if you were Mr. Tenon and you owned a blue truck, you could be on notice, if you were watching the news, that they may be looking for you, correct?
That's correct.
And it's that same month that Mr. Fernandez writes a check to Mr. Tenon, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you would agree with me that a check has got to be the most identifiable form of payment that almost exists on planet Earth, right?
Yes, sir.
You have to write your name on it. You have to sign it. It comes from your account. It goes into the person who deposits its account. All the information we have is right there for anyone to look at when you write somebody a check, correct?
That's correct.
And then there's memo lines on the check. And the memo lines are for keeping up with the roof on one and landscaping clearing on another, correct?
That's correct.
And you know, as the chief or the lead investigator in this case, that Sonny Fong, 11 months after the homicide, called Mr. Fernandez, correct?
Yes.
And in that call, he asked if he knew Mr. Tenon, and he said that he did, right?
That's correct.
He didn't deny knowing him, right?
No.
Mr. Fernandez's phone records indicate that he's having communications with Mr. Tenon in January and February and March, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the conversation, Mr. Fernandez acknowledges, I paid that guy to do some work for me, right?
I believe you made some kind of comment about him. Yes.
I mean, it'll stand for itself, but as the chief lead detective in this case, you've heard that call. It's in evidence, right?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Fernandez says, I had him do some tree work for me, right?
Correct.
That's on the memo line, right?
Yes.
He said, I had him help me with the roof, right?
Yes.
That's on the memo line, right?
Yes.
No one in law enforcement has any reason to believe that Mr. Fernandez knew he was being recorded on that line, correct?
That's correct.
Everyone has spoken to Mr. Fong in this case, and he's testified. He said he had no reason to believe he was being recorded on that call, right?
That's correct.
So Mr. Fernandez would have to, 11 months after the homicide, on an unrecorded phone call, or a recorded phone call that he's unaware of, he just happens to identify exactly what he paid Mr. Tenon for via check.
I can't say why Mr. Fernandez said that.
But you do know that Mr. Tenon did legitimate work for Mr. Fernandez. Your investigation revealed that fact, didn't it?
It was stated that the work was done, yes.
At that time, in March, Mr. Fernandez had he had access to hundreds of thousands of dollars, correct?
Yes, sir.
$5,000 isn't a great deal of money to Mr. Fernandez at that time, is it?
No, sir.
And in that period of time, he writes him a check, Kickstarter, good luck, right?
That's correct.
You learned through your investigative efforts that Mr. Tenon wanted to start his own pallet company, right?
There were some records that indicated that.
Okay, and I'm going to represent to you that it's in evidence that a week before Mr. Fernandez wrote those checks, Mr. Tenon Googled business plans. Did you know that?
I know there was some Googling of that. I don't remember the exact time frame.
Ms. Day, we went through the notepad where he wrote in his business plan. We already did that exchange, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll show you the Google in a minute. I just got to find it. It's not in ours. Maybe it is. Give me 1 second. And it was no secret that Mr. Tenon wanted to start his own pallet company, right?
I don't know whether he actually wanted to start a pallet company or not.
He wasn't making a whole lot of money in the pallet business, was he?
No, he was not.
It's not uncommon that a person who isn't doing well financially would want to do better financially, is it?
No.
Mr. Tenon had decades of experience in the pallet business, correct?
I don't know specifically how much. I would say that he had some experience in the pallet business.
You went and interviewed people at Modison Pallets, didn't you? You and your team?
My team did, yes.
Yeah, and he was a good employee, wasn't he?
Yes.
And he had been there a long time.
Yes.
Fair to say Mr. Tenon knew a few things about pallet work.
That's probably true.
Okay? And then it just happens to be that on the poll camera footage, a pallet truck pulls up to the Potomac address and stops. We went through that exercise, didn't we?
Yes.
And then when you took photos of the Potomac address, when you guys searched it, there was stacks of pallets next to the house, weren't there?
I don't recall that. I'm not saying that there wasn't, but I don't recall it.
I'll show you pictures in a second. And Mr. Tenon's business was taking older pallets and fixing them to make them reusable. That's what he did at Modeston Pallets, correct?
Yes.
I'm showing what's defendant's 58, already put in evidence. Take a second to look at all Google searches. Mr. Tenon was Googling business plans the week before he received those checks?
Yes.
And then the other part of your investigation was revealed that Mr. Tenon in January, in January of 2022, Mr. Tenon didn't have a lot of money in his account. You went through that and you showed the jury that he would even have overdrawn months, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that would be consistent with a person who has to go to their landlord and say, I can't afford to live here anymore, right? His bank accounts reflected that he could not afford to pay rent to Mr. Fernandez, right?
I would say the bank accounts afforded that he probably would have a hard time paying his rent.
Okay, so we agree. And that was the time that Mr. Fernandez said, again, on the sunny phone call, I tried to work with him, but he just couldn't come up with the money, so I had to get a new tenant. So that's consistent, correct?
Yes.
Now, you know that there are ways that you can pay somebody via implied payments, meaning you don't actually pay them money, you give them value. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
In your world, in the fancy business world that you come from, that's called sweat equity, right?
Something like that, yes.
In this case, we know that Mr. Tenon was having a hard time paying rent to Mr. Fernandez, correct?
According to what Mr. Fernandez said on the call, yes.
And according to Mr. Tenon's bank records, they're consistent with that, correct?
Yes.
You told the jury that you think the rent payment was around $800 to live at the Potomac address, correct?
Yes.
So if you didn't want to write checks, if you didn't want to have any cash exchanges, you could just let someone live at your house for free, and every month you'd get $800. That's another way to pay somebody, correct?
I don't understand the question.
If Mr. Fernandez wanted Mr. Tenon to do something illegal for him, he could have just said, why don't you stay in my house and don't pay me rent? And every month it'll be as if you got $800. That's another way to pay somebody, correct?
I mean, hypothetically speaking, yes, he could do, I guess he could do that.
But that didn't happen in this case. Mr. Tenon left, put his stuff in the garage, and Mr. Ordway moved in, correct?
And Mr. Tenon was still basically living there.
From time to time, but he also stayed at his girlfriend Peanut's house. You learned that during the investigation, didn't you?
He pretty much stayed at Potomac.
I showed you, and I'll do it again if I have to, but you remember when I showed you the address of what Mr. Tenon had put on the pawn shop receipts after he had moved out of Potomac?
Yes, sir.
It wasn't the Potomac address, was it?
No.
It was Peanut's address on Old Kings Avenue, correct?
Yes.
So he wasn't using the Potomac address anymore after he moved out. He was using Peanut's address.
According to the one slip, yes.
Okay, now we've gone through the month of March and those checks, and then early April, there's the $5,000 check. That's the $10,000, right?
Yes.
No checks in May, correct?
No.
No checks in June, correct?
No.
No checks in July, correct?
No.
No checks in August, correct?
That's correct.
And Mr. Tenon gets arrested in August.
That's correct.
And there's not a single jail call that you're aware of that you've heard where Mr. Tenon is griping that he never got paid to kill Jared Bridegan, correct?
Correct.
So it's your theory that although you learned that he does legitimate work for Mr. Fernandez, that there's $10,000, that's what he got to kill Jared Bridegan, correct?
Yes.
But you also learned that he did tree work and landscaping at his house, right?
There were conversations of that.
And you saw it. You saw work being performed at the house, correct?
Not by Mr. Tenon.
I mean, I showed you a video of him coming out and unloading boxes from his trunk, right?
Yes, there was a video of him unloading boxes.
Do you think Mr. Fernandez pays Mr. Tenon to kill somebody, and then he calls up and he's like, come outside and unload the truck of my car? Don't you think Mr. Tenon would own Mr. Fernandez at that point?
I can't speak to Mr. Tenon's mind or what he did or didn't do as far as that's concerned.
If it was represented to this jury that Mr. Tenon should be dead to them, Mr. Tenon's not dead right now, is he?
No.
He's very much alive, isn't he?
Yes.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
And I don't know if you want to take, when I am done, I'm going to need like 2 minutes to
Okay.
repack, organize those documents. There was a $10,000 cash withdrawal from Mr. Fernandez's accounts you talked to the jury about.
Yes, sir.
And then to show that Mr. Tenon would get cash, he would deposit cash into his account, correct?
There were cash deposits into his account.
Any reason to believe there's a single transaction where Mr. Tenon deposits $10,000 worth of cash,
No, sir.
$9,000 worth of cash,
No, sir.
$8,000 worth of cash,
No, sir.
$7,000 worth of cash,
No, sir.
$6,000 worth of cash?
They were all smaller deposits under $600.
That you have no idea where they came from, correct?
No.
Mr. Tenon was a handy guy, right?
Yes,
Not making a lot of money at Modeston Palace, correct?
that's correct.
So if he went around and he did odd jobs for people and got cash, that wouldn't shock you.
No,
Okay, so that's where that money could have come from, correct?
I don't know where the money came from, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you certainly don't know that it came from Mr. Fernandez, right?
Correct.
And there's no huge increase. Let's say the month that the $10,000 cash withdrawal, did you get any evidence that all of a sudden Mr. Tenon did something that was financially out of his reach, like went to Vegas for the weekend,
No, sir.
went to the Keys,
No.
took and bought himself a new car?
No.
Not a single thing that would match that a person didn't deposit cash, but all of a sudden got a huge influx of cash. You have no evidence to believe Mr. Tenon got a huge influx of cash, did you?
No.
In fact, what you do know is that Mr. Tenon owned a Ford F-150 that was blue in color, that was previously owned by his father, and he couldn't even get the timing belt fixed because he left it at Jimmy Jones's house and didn't have the money to get it fixed, correct?
That's correct.
I don't have anything further, Your Honor. I just need a minute to clean up.
Okay. Any redirect of the witness? Okay. And just give him a moment.
I will. Mr. Drysdale, I'll need defense too, please. Thanks, John.
Thank you. So, Ms. Rahi?
Detective Johns, could you explain to the jury how what they have seen is just a small snapshot of the potential financial records or financial transactions that would exist in the entire world with regard to these people?
We only collected few months period of time that was around before and after the homicide. It does not paint a full picture of the amount of financial benefit that someone would have received during the course of their marriage.
And are there ways that people can make financial transactions that would not appear in bank records?
Yes.
Can you hand each other things of value?
Yes.
Jewelry, cash, anything else?
All kinds of things that are worth something that could be sold later that aren't going to be recorded.
The bank accounts you did receive were the bank accounts that we were able to find out about in subpoena.
Yes.
Could there be other bank accounts that we never found out about?
Yes.
So it's just a small snapshot of the financial records.
That's correct.
Okay. Because the defense asked you questions about there was only the $10,000 in checks, but we also see that Mr. Tenon deposited, although not $10,000 worth of cash, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of cash.
Yes, that's correct.
And certainly it's possible that he did handyman jobs, and it's certainly possible that he got it from Mr. Fernandez. We just don't know.
That's correct.
The defense asked you about jail calls, and are all inmate calls recorded?
I'm not sure.
Are you aware of the fact that the jail tells the inmates if they use jail calls that their calls are monitored and recorded?
Yes, that is true.
So if a defendant got on the jail calls after being told that they're being monitored and recorded and said, I'm upset I didn't get my payment for murder for hire, that person would be potentially confessing.
That's accurate.
Okay. During the review of all the records in this particular case, did you see any other $5,000 checks that this defendant wrote to any charitable organizations?
No, sir.
Any investments in any other Kickstarters?
No, sir.
Anything that could be classified as trying to help another person?
No, sir.
You saw payments to himself and to his business interests.
Correct.
The defense asked you lots of questions about whether or not the defendant got any money from the trust account. But the defendant, did he get money directly from the Gardners, meaning the parents, his in-laws?
Yes.
And that was, we know, at least $75,000 because we saw that check.
That's correct.
Okay. He also got over $300,000 from the marital home.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Let's go over with what the defense counsel spent a lot of time discussing was a prenuptial agreement. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
What is the title of this agreement?
It is a post-nuptial agreement.
Not pre,
Correct.
post.
Yes.
What's the date that the parties were married?
I actually don't remember the exact date there.
Oh, it's on there.
Oh, sorry. April the 13th, 2018.
April 13th, 2018. Let's look at page 12. The execution of that document,
October 15th, 2019.
that's way after their marriage date.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any idea what cars were transferred in the first 18 months of that agreement, or 14 months, 16 months?
No, sir.
Could have been the Tesla.
It could have.
Mario's bank accounts. Can you read those into the records that was written in the post-nuptial agreement?
USAA $1,463.37, and then two Navy Federal accounts, one for $3,552.32, and the other for $4,000, it's either a 3 or an 8, 44.22.
And then back to that page 1 of defense 2. Can you read into a record the incomes of Mario Enrique Fernandez and Shanna Gardner?
Mario Fernandez is indicated that he's self-employed and makes approximately $28,000 a year. And Shanna Gardner also indicates that she's self-employed and It makes approximately $36,000 a year.
I think you explained this, but I want to give you an opportunity to make it more clear. Why, in your opinion, did Mr. Tenon receive the 3 checks on the same day, even though he deposited them on separate days?
My objection is to improper opinion testimony.
Okay.
I think this is directly in response to cross-examination questions.
Respond to the objection, though. What's the foundation for the opinion?
Well, he crossed him on whether or not it was the same day. He crossed him. I mean, he crossed him on this.
I'll allow you to rephrase then.
Explain to this jury how the check stubs were recovered in Henry Tenon's Fiat truck.
The check stubs or the checks in general are a business style printed page check. There's 3 checks to a page typically, and there's stubs. The stubs were found intact inside Mr. Tenon's truck.
And those have been made in evidence, so the jury will get to see it. We talked a little bit on cross-examination about the surreptitious phone call between this defendant and Mr. Fung.
Yes, sir.
And nowhere in that call does the defendant indicate that he gave $5,000 to Henry Tenon as a Kickstarter.
No, sir.
That's not mentioned.
No.
That's all the questions I have now.
Anything further for this witness?
Very briefly in response. Is that okay, Your Honor?
Okay.
In that postnuptial agreement, Mr. Fernandez, it was stated that he made $36,000 a year when they signed that postnuptial agreement. Is that correct?
$28,000.
$28,000?
Yes, sir.
You agree with me that would be $28,000 more than Jared Bridegan made during the course of his marriage to Shanna Gardner, correct?
Okay. I'll sustain it.
No further questions?
Do you want to be heard? I'll hear it sidebar.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, one moment. So just for the record, I'm allowing Mr. Dreiser to rephrase his question. Go ahead.
In the postnuptial agreement, Mr. Fernandez did in fact have an income, correct?
Yes, sir.
And when Jared Bridegan was married to Miss Gardner, he did not have an income, correct?
I'm not aware of any jobs he did or didn't work.
You already answered my question earlier. You said you knew that he did not work when he was married to Miss Gardner.
I know that the Gardners provided income and education expenses for their children and their spouses.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right. May the witness be excused, or you want to?
I have to ask one more
Okay,
question.
go ahead.
Were you aware that Mr. Bridegan was in school during the marriage and learning?
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions I have.
May the witness be excused.